Make sure it started. Yep. Good deal. Hi, this is Dee with Critical Break and Kiri Elisan to everyone. I'm here with Sir Edward, aka Abaddon, my Pleiadian friend, and I am pulling up the chat real quick. Hope you all are having a great Saturday. Yesterday, I know some people may have caught the fact that I said that church would be out by the time we streamed, and I was referring to the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Seventh-day Adventists. They do go to church on... Oh, let me mute this. We don't need that. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. So there is church on Saturday and Sunday. Just FYI for everybody, because some people may not be aware that some people do go to church on Saturday because they observe their holy days are different. So anyway, but we were going to start with current events, then we'll head to some questions that were asked and from the prior stream, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the topics we were working on yesterday, and then questions at the end. So if you guys could save them till the end, that would be awesome. Can somebody give me some indication in the chat about our audio? Because first time you guys could barely hear Sir Edward. Last time you could barely hear me. So maybe we'll get it right this time. Let's see. I'm going to check the chat. Sound is good, so you can hear both of us really good. Go ahead and say hi, Sir Edward. That way they know if your volume's good.
Kila. Greetings.
Could you guys hear
that?
Say testing 1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6. He's a little low. Well, he's turned up as far as he goes. Hello, Sir Tony. It's good to see you. It's great to see all of you. Okay. Just a note to everybody that the House of An and the House of El don't always totally agree, which is totally okay. We also, comments made by the House of An may not reflect the thoughts of the House of El and vice versa. So just keep that in mind. Sir Edward and myself respect each other a great deal, and what we're trying to do here to help enlighten the fledglings on the planet. So anyway, be respectful in the chat of each other, please. We both request that. Anyway, so we'll go with current events, and we'll start with Sir Edward. He had a couple of things he was talking about that may be of interest to everybody, and how we started our day today, because I think it's important that you all realize while we're incarnate, we're just like you in many ways. There's some differences, but in many ways we are like you. So I wanted everyone to be aware of that, okay? Anyway, I'll let Sir Edward talk about any current events and how his morning went.
Well, my mornings went pretty good. It was really cold this morning, 19 degrees. It's 40 degrees now. No snow, but it's overcast. I put something on the back burner. Normally on the weekends I do my laundry, but I haven't got hardly any laundry to do, so I'm going to put it off to tomorrow. So, yeah, one of the current events, I had a video sent to me from one of my sisters of a, excuse me, a lady in North Carolina. Her name's Deborah, and she didn't hope to see a craft or anything. Well, she got her wish. I think it was yesterday evening, and she videoed it on her phone. And it's not not as clear as you would like it to be, but you know, when these things happen, I mean, they happen at the spur of the moment. They're not set on any time frame. But you could see something in the distance, very bright, would move and then hover and then move back to its original point and hover. And this lasted about 2.5, 3 minutes, something like that. Deborah, if you're watching this, congratulations. I often wonder how many more out there have seen our crafts or your crafts or something strange that they can't identify. I urge people, if you witness them, come out forward, share it with us. And my sister told me this morning she was just blown away. And this lady's a retired teacher. I've talked with her one time now on Skype. Very lovely lady, and very forthcoming and very spiritual. And I always tell people, it's at your fingertips. All you have to do is ask. And for Doris down in Florida, yeah, no, I did not replenish my pineapple juice yet, but that's in the works. There's a little private comedy going on with the pineapple juice, and eventually I might share it with people openly, but right now I'm gonna keep it private because this morning our little chat about the pineapple juice, it got a little heated, so I'm going to keep it private, okay? It's a private joke, but eventually we'll share it. I just don't know how we're going to share it yet. I can't help but laugh about it because it is funny. But also, there's something else. If anybody's got any wind of this, yesterday, one of my brothers over in Australia informed me that over there that the news has been talking about riots over here in the United States these last few days around Washington, D.C., several other U.S. cities. I have not seen nothing on the news about it, but that shouldn't surprise nobody. And also, the only riots that I've heard about that I've seen is the riots going on in France, mainly Paris, and there is some riots going on in Munich, Germany, and in Stauffenberg, Germany. People are protesting the immigrants that have came over there, and the crime rates are, they're through the roof, and they want them out of there. And that's the only thing I've seen. But if there's anybody got any wind about something that's developed here in this country, I sure would like to hear about it. Like I said yesterday, the train has already left the station. I think Dee can elaborate a little bit more about some of these protests and what's going on with them.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I wanted to say about protesting, I think it's important because people will start a movement and protests like the Yellow Vest and things of that nature. And that's excellent. But the problem is they will send in saboteurs, basically, antagonists, to mingle among the protesters and do property damage and basically give the protesters a bad name. So anybody who does organize that sort of a situation, it would be highly suggested that everybody sit down to do their protest. That way, the antagonist being sent in to make you look bad will be very obvious. And you can immediately point them out, and that should stop some of that. But just a word to the wise. So what did you do this morning?
A lot of times on the weekends I like to sit, especially in the mornings. I sit and I look out the window, and I've either got some relaxing meditation type music on, or I'm listening to some of my old music that I like to listen to. This morning I was listening to one of my favorite bands. I remember them just like yesterday. I like to listen to ABBA. Um, yeah, they had some way out there costumes, but it's not the costume; it was the music. I like to listen to their music, and I got a I got a little thing about Frida. I always thought that Frida made that band, so yeah, that's what I was doing, and yeah, I was just reading stuff. I took a brief look at the news and everything, and it's the same old every day on the news. So the news most of the time gets me in a angry mood or a depressed mood, and I don't go there. And I didn't see nothing happy. I cared about Merkel and Prince Harry's uh, dress code or what the royals are doing and everything. That's their business. I'm concerned about things that are happening around the world. And sometimes it's not pretty. And yeah, I had 62 texts this morning, and everybody that's got my phone number sent me texts. I will answer most of your questions. Are pretty self-explanatory, um, but I picked out 4 questions. I think it's 4. No, I'll take that back. 3 questions that were quite unique, and I think 2 of them pertain to our subject matter that we'll continue on today. Um, I'll get to them questions with the answers here in just a little while, unless Dee wants me to answer them now.
Oh, go be my guest, please.
All
Go for
right.
it.
Well, the first one is from Amy, not the Amy in Australia. This is the Amy in Michigan. She wanted to know who built the Petra, the temple there in Jordan. Was it the Watchers? Um, One, you got to understand a lot of the dates that archaeology and history places is not very accurate. They say it's like 6 to 7,000 years old. Well, I've been to Petra one time, and it was part of the Alabayara um, uh, civilization, which was eventually be known as the Edomites. Um, the people there at the time was known as the Nabateans, and the Nabateans were a secular tribe of the Sumerians. You never hear about that, and it is believed that the Temple of Petra, it's not a tomb as some say. It was a sanctuary where teachings and knowledge was shared. And the Nabateans, again, were a sect from the Sumerians. How do we know this for a fact? Well, we found out some of the Sumerian kings are mentioned there in some of the hieroglyphs. It's funny, they never show that because it's on the inside of the temple, but it's well protected, it's well guarded. The Jordanian government do not allow nobody to go in there and do anything without their strict and highly enforced permission. And I thank the Jordanian government for protecting such a sacred site. So that's Amy's question. And the other question came from David King, a friend of mine that lives over here in Tennessee. He asked me, which is the correct tomb of Jesus? There is 3 or 4 sites that's been propagated as being the official place they placed Jesus' body after the crucifixion. The only and liable and correct place, it's known as the tomb of the garden tomb. It was the family sanctuary that was owned by Joseph Arimathea. You can the holy church of the resting place or Jesus' tomb that the Catholic Church promotes. No cigar. The other and the third and the final question came from a lady named Bobby Gray. I know her. She lives in Tennessee also, and she is also a Cherokee shaman. She asked me who was King Sapharavan. He is mentioned only in one place in the Bible, and it's in Isaiah 37, verse 13. King Sephar, he was a Sumerian king, and there is some documents and some literature about him. He walked with the gods. He was one of the early Anunnaki, how do I say this, promoters. In other words, he promoted the watchers were there for your protection. They were not there to dominate or control the creation. They were there in the beginning as protectors. Again, like I said, he's mentioned in Isaiah 37, verse 13, only in one place in the Bible. But if you study the Sumerian culture and look at the Sumerians' kings list, you will find his name, and it is pronounced Saravan, and it's Saphar, and there's a little cattail right there, Ban, and that's a Sumerian king. And you know what? I would bet the bank that he drank pineapple juice too. The reason I say that, and I'm saying it in a joking manner, it is also noted in the Sumerian list that he had 42 children. I think he marinated in the pineapple juice. What do you think, Dee?
Sounds like it. Sounds like he was having a good time.
Well, I just got in a new text message here.
Yeah.
I need to turn this phone off. Are you live streaming right now? Yes, we are. So, thanks for the text message there.
Abba's another name
Karen.
for God, by the way, just in case anybody didn't know that. Abba is another word used for the name of God.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, my phone is turned off, so save your text message, or you can go ahead and send them, but I'll answer them in a little bit.
So, did you have any other questions?
Comedy, but, huh?
Did they give you any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Know if we're live streaming right now. I just said yes. I just sent it back. Said yes. They know where to go. I don't know who it was. Yeah.
Okay. There was one question. Okay. I sent you the link for yesterday's stream, and there was some stuff directed at you specifically. I don't think really has anything to do. You can take a look at those later.
All right.
One question from Sir Ross A. How do many miracles happen in the name of Jesus Christ? It is because the person's belief in Jesus as a son, or is it the Father himself doing the miracles, or even the person themselves doing the miracles?
Wow. Thank you, Ross. Guess what, Ross? You answered all three questions yourself.
All of the above, right?
All the above. See, this is the thing that I've talked openly about. I talk it with a lot of people. This morning, one of our conversations centered around this. I call it the God gene. I know people have heard me talk about that. The soul, the gifts that we are born with. You know, if you believe it, it will happen. If you believe you're going to get sick, you're going to get sick. If you believe you're going to be healthy and strong and there's nothing that you cannot do, guess what? You've created a miracle. Now, talking about the things that my brother did, yeah, he did do some things. Did he walk on water? No. Did he turn water into wine? No. Can it happen? Yeah, it can happen. But you got to understand a little bit about physics, a little bit of thing about math, a little bit of things of what nature allows and what nature will not allow. But here's a big key factor to your questions, Ross. My brother was able to not only convince people of their abilities, but he showed them. So there's many things that we can do as a species. And again, it goes back and it's mind over matter. And if you believe it, it will happen. Prayer is a great tool, a great example. You may not see it suddenly, you may not see it immediately, but you keep believing and you keep your faith and your testimony, it will happen. I mean, it's pretty well documented too.
Yeah, I've been
I'm
trying
not
to
going to
teach the
go to,
fledglings
but
about
am I
their real
right about that,
power.
Dee?
Hmm?
Yeah, am I right about that?
Yeah. They
Uh,
have gifts and abilities, and the system that's in place here has done a very good job at trying to get them to forget that, including their
yeah,
ability to astral travel or astral project, remote view, um, telekinesis.
I like to. I would love to interject with one thing on Ross's questions. In the Nag Hammadi Diaries, it's in the chapter called "The Man of Righteousness," and it is strongly believed that these were the writings of my brother himself. Well, my brother is stated there was a lot of things that he did in his when he was here during those days that was never revealed. But there's in that chapter, there's a section that says, "Wherever you kneel and talk to thy Father is thy church." That's a prime example of prayer. Uh, don't think that your prayers are never heard or they can't be answered. One of the things that I can truthfully say is you can pray for something, and what is that prayer going to pertain to? It can pertain to anything. But if that prayer is truly believed and you truly believe that in your heart that it's going to happen, then guess what? Your prayer shall be answered. Again, it's not something that's going to happen just like that. A lot of times your faith is tested. How honest and how innocent is he with this prayer? Let's just see. You may ask it again. You may ask it 3 or 4 times. You're being tested. We're all tested. But never lose hope, never lose your faith. Believe that it's going to happen. And guess what? Your power, your gift that everybody has, again, to elaborate, these things will materialize. I mean, I'm not going to say, yeah, you're going to pray and, oh God, Father, I sure could use a winning lottery ticket today. No, that's not, in most cases, not going to happen. But if you pray and say, Father, there's a less fortunate family down there that are struggling. Can you bless them? Can you intercede with them and help them stand on their feet? Or, Father, I'm a hardworking man or woman, and my car is just about on its last leg. I sure could use a little help here. Uh, I'm not going to say you're going to get a brand new Lexus, or who knows, you might get a Bentley. Trust me, never, never shy away from what you ask for, and be very precise with what you ask for. It's easy to say these things are not true. They'll never happen. I don't believe in prayer. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the words you guys are saying. Well, you know what? There is your answer. You're never going to achieve ultimate, um, your ultimate way that you can be, achieve your ultimate goal. But again, it goes back. If you believe in it and you honestly and truthfully ask for it, it will be granted. It will be granted. That's a no-brainer. Too much documentation says otherwise.
Very true. And I think it has a lot to
Very.
do with intent. And another thing is prayers or meditation on someone else's behalf is,
Do you know
yeah, because if you're constantly praying
somebody
for
made
yourself, yeah, no, not cool.
a comment here a while back, and I don't remember who it was. It doesn't. I mean, that shows you how much importance it was. But I found a little humor in it. I laugh a lot. I love laughing. Humor, it makes the world go round. Unfortunately, we don't have much laughing anymore. When I talk to my brothers and sisters, uh, it's a heated discussion, but there is so much laughter going in there. And the ones that I talk to multiple times, we laugh. I had one of my sisters tell me, "Oh my God," she says, "I've laughed so much, it's almost like I'm getting a facelift. My cheeks are expanded." It's good. It's good to share and good to laugh with people because that's a form of expression of love to one another, um, peace and solidarity. But this individual, because I was laughing about something. I don't remember what it was. Again, that shows you how important it was. But he said, with you making fun of this and laughing, you lost your last ounce of credibility. I'm not here trying to be credible. I'm not here to try to prove a point. I'm here sharing the truth. And
Well,
you can take it any way you want
it's
to.
interesting because I think they forget who they're speaking to.
Well, yeah, yeah. But I don't think D has ever came across, and I know, and hopefully I've never came across, because I'm gonna tell you something. My brothers and sisters do critique me. They do watch these videos. They've critiqued me in the past. They'll critique me in the future. But when I have people that come and honestly say, "Wow, I was blessed," how can you say you was blessed? I felt so much in your words. I felt the tingling in your words. I felt that I was learning so much more than I've ever had in my life by what you was showing or what you was saying. Well, the key word there was I, not me or D, but you. I. It goes back again of the three questions that Ross asked. Uh, Keeping the faith, you're embracing the knowledge, you're embracing the ancient mysteries that now are being revealed. So it's never about me, it's never about D, it's never about our Father, it's about you. You have the same powers as the Creator does. And I will say that truthfully because we all are given gifts. When you incarnate into a new life, them gifts never leave you unless you've done something beyond imagination that is so terrible. You know what? The creators will say, we gave them one, we gave them two, we gave them three chances, and their soul is deficient. So we are going to end it right there and we'll reconstruct that. Um, Again, you got to learn a little bit about the physics of the incarnation process, and ye must be born again. Um,
And being born
I'm
again
pretty
is
accurate about
basically
that.
seeking
Yeah,
inside yourself.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
seeking. Never stop. Don't
Oh,
stop asking. I always tell them never stop asking the question why, because I never stopped.
yeah. It's like my two girls, especially my little one, my little munchkin, Tiffany. She used to say, "Why, Daddy? Why, Daddy? Daddy, are we there yet? Daddy, why, Daddy?" You never turn children away. Children are wanting to learn. They're curious. They want to, wow, how can I achieve this information? I want to learn. Who can I learn from? Well, most children will go to their parents. And this was like one of our conversations this morning we had. Uh, Children are the problem that we see in society today. And the reason I say that, you know, the gangbangers, children killing children, children raping other children, and I mean it's a very vicious and vile scenario. But why are children doing this? Well, the mother's not there, the father's not there, the family unit. Well, that's a word in the past. I'm not saying all. Don't get me wrong. Don't come out of the woodwork, you soothsayers. But the facts are the facts. The family unit is broken. Mothers ain't got time with their children, so they just tell the children to go do whatever they want to. And another problem is the children are sitting there playing all these vulgar games or sexting, as they call it. And next thing you know, some pedophile has found the address, and that child is no more. It's been raped, abused, and its throat slit. I'm being very honest. That is an everyday occurrence. One of our conversations this morning over here in Nashville, last week there was a 7-year-old girl, a young black girl, and her mother was coming back from the store, and a pickup truck pulled up alongside of them and shot into the vehicle and killed the 7-year-old girl, killed her instantly, wounded the mother. So they're looking for this red pickup truck. Everybody over there is up in arms. You know, who could kill an innocent child? Well, they've made 3 arrests now, and all 3 of them was black people. The shooter was 13 years old. He wants to be a gang member. This was an initiation. You want to be in our gang, then you'll have to prove your worth. So they, one of the gang members had a pickup truck, and they drove down just a regular street over there in Nashville. And wow, there's some innocent people. Shoot them, and he did, and killed the 7-year-old girl. The shooter again was 13 years old. The driver of the truck was 15. Didn't even have a license. And the third person is the leader of this gang, known by the Metro Police over there. And, I mean, they've got a history. And now the defense that's going to represent the shooter says, oh, well, you know, he had no family life. He had his mother was on drugs, and the father, we don't know who the father is. There's your prime example. This is just one example, but this is not just in America, although it's manifested itself in America greatly, where you know it's an everyday occurrence. But we see the same thing in other countries. Hey, I'm sorry, people. The truth sometimes is hard to swallow, but we have to address these issues. There's no getting our way around it. And I have an old saying. I have many old sayings, but this one I really hold dear to my heart. That anybody that would hurt an animal, that person will hurt a child. And anybody who hurt an animal and a child will hurt a woman. What are you teaching your children today? And that is a true statement. There is no family units teaching the children.
Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, my morning was interesting. I did my usual farmer's market bright and early. It's been cold, snowy rain since yesterday. As a matter of fact, I was telling him that when we got done with the stream, I looked outside and it was that real heavy, wet rain, snow stuff going on. I was like, oh yeah, there it is. But this morning, at least the streets were not slick. Yay! And so I did that and then worked on both the vehicles, and that was my morning. So I had a busy Saturday morning, as usual. It's pretty typical around here, very busy. But let's see. So we're going to go back to our topics from yesterday. And yesterday, we were talking about the family coming over into France, but we wanted to backtrack before we went into that to the crucifixion itself. And
All
we'll
right.
probably dig into that whole story
You want to
possibly a little
start with the
more later, but the
crucifixion?
crucifixion itself we're going to dig into. And
All right.
what occurred there. Um, and as you all know, nobody died that day. Well, not Jesus anyway. So,
Exactly.
yeah, he was taken down from the cross. Um, did or didn't he die? Probably not in a medical sense, but my guess is that he may have had vital signs that were probably near or non-existent. So, but he was, I know that they brought special um, herbs and oils in to treat him based on my knowledge. But the crucifixion itself, what happened that day during and just prior to him being taken down from the cross is interesting because there's some things that happened while he was still on the cross, because it talks about the thunder in the skies, and then the earth shook. And based on what I know, or some things that I have seen in more than one location, is there was actually a ship coming in to retrieve him. And ships.
Wonder why there was thunder in the sky.
Yeah, thunder in the sky, exactly. That's why, because there was a battle going on, because there was a ship trying to come in to save him. And then the earth shaking was that ship crashing. That's
Yeah.
been my
Well,
impression, and it rings true with me. So I'll let you go from there on that.
well, it comes back to my original question. How did Dan Brown know all this stuff? Why he wrote the book of the Da Vinci Code, something that's very well hidden within the Catholic Church. Um, you got to understand Jewish tradition at the time. Jesus was hung on that cross. The cross is a fact. I know it's a fact because the Catholic Church holds the upper mantle today. They even hold the sacred crown of thorns. They have the spear of Ligunius in their possession, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Especially where the shroud of Turin is all connected with all them three items. But during the time, you got to remember, Pontius Pilate did not want to crucify Jesus. The Bible even says that openly. Excuse me. What crime has this man done? But the Sanhedrin, who was the ruling Jewish class, they were the NWO of the time, New World Order. They called for his blood, for his execution, because he was a threat to their power. He was a threat to their authority. And although they were under Roman rule, Pontius Pilate appeased them to keep the calm. He did not want riots and Roman legions having to kill multiple people over stupidity, which eventually would happen. But they flogged him. It's very well noted within Roman Chronicle texts, within the Bible. And then Jesus was hung up on the cross on Golgotha, and Golgotha is still an actual place today. There in Jerusalem, it is a tourist site, and it's very accurate on the positioning of where he was hung. Now, we go back to Jewish tradition. It was done on the holy Sabbath day. Sabbath and Judean laws during them times, and even today as we speak, that a body that's dead cannot be touched or be left outside at sunset. So, as the documentation goes, Jesus' father and Jesus' uncle, who was the brother of his earth mother, Nicodemus, and Joseph of Arimathea, went and begged, as the Bible states, begged Pilate for his body. Well, Pilate wanted to know, was he dead? Well, a Roman legion soldier named Laguinius had been given an order to test to see if he was dead. Now, I know that it says in the Bible that a spear was stabbed in his side and blood and water and gore came out. He did prick him in the side, so the records, the Roman records state, but it never mentions any blood or water coming out in the Roman records. So we don't know if that was if he actually pierced the skin or not. I mean, that's only maybe, knowing what the Catholics have done to the biblical records, that could be a little dramatizing on their part. But we do know he was hanged on that cross. Now, when Jesus was taken down, he was carried to the family tomb. David, you asked about the original tomb of Jesus where they took him. Well, when they took him down, Jesus was still alive. Did the Romans know this? No. If that was your kin hanging up there, would you go tell, oh, wait a minute, Pontus, we got to leave him up there. He's not dead yet. No. They took him down and they carried him to the family tomb. Grave sites in Israel in the ancient days, even today, were very sacred sites. The Romans didn't go there to tamper with them and didn't want to tamper with them. They placed him in the tomb, but the word had spread through a certain few that he's still alive. Now, who was the first person to see Jesus walk out of that tomb? It's Mary Magdalene. Well, now, if I was hanging on that cross, and I was married, yeah, I would want my wife to know, yeah, I'm a little bruised, I'm a little battered, I'm okay, but don't tell nobody, because I've got a real big surprise for these buttholes that did this to me. Now, Mary Magdalene, and I'm going by olden records again, and using a little bit of the Bible in there. The olden records said that Mary Magdalene, and she was distraught, but she went there and took spices to prepare the body. Actually, what is not being told, she went there to administer, probably most likely in 100% cases, first aid. And it's also noted in the Roman Chronicles. It's also noted in the Jewish Talmud. It's also noted in the Bible record that there was a bright flash of light, and Mary Magdalene saw two light beings there. It's also noted that the sky was pealing with thunder. It had turned dark as a storm had came in. But they also mention a strange light that hovered in the heavens. Well, who were these two angels or these two beings of light that Mary describes? Even the Roman guards that were guarding the tomb saw the light. Well, you won't find this in the Bible. You won't find it in the Jewish Talmud. But you will find it in the Roman Chronicles of the time period, that the Roman legion or the guards said there was a flash of light and a brilliance shone out of the heavens down on the tomb. That is very well documented. So what came out of the heavens shining a bright light? It was a craft, people. It was a craft. They did take him. and he was healed. Now, who was the two beings that came and got him? I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't invited. Sorry, my friend who said I lost my last ounce of credibility. That's kind of funny, I think. Did you get an invite, Dee?
Oh, what?
Did you get an invite to go to the retrieval of Jesus?
No, no.
I don't think any of us. But here's the big thing about it is, as he was on the cross, the only people that were there to witness the crucifixion was his mother, his earth mother, Mary Magdalene, Nicodemus, Bartholomew, Philippi, John, and Thomas. Where was the other apostles? They had fled. They were hiding. They were in fear for their own skin. And of course, people stood off the hill, mainly the Sanhedrin, Antipas, and they were happy. This threat to our authority is dead, thanks to the Romans. The Romans didn't kill Jesus. The Romans didn't even call for his death. He was no threat to the Romans. It was the Jewish people who allegedly thought they killed him. It's hard to kill a hard spirit like that, especially one of greatness as my brother. He got beat up a little bit, but he healed. And the power within him, the same power that you possess, as I said earlier. Did he take vengeance on him? No. But I will tell you what the angels of the Lord did soon after Jesus was taken down off that cross. And this is in the biblical record. It's in the Roman Chronicles. There was a massive earthquake. That earthquake today can be seen there in Jerusalem, where it split the wall. The holy temple that the Sanhedrins called their great power, the Temple of Solomon, as it was known in them days. It was split right down the middle, and portions of it fell. This is supposed to be the house of the Lord, the house of God, yet the angels leveled it. I'm sorry, I don't think it was the house of Jabba. I don't think it was the house of Jesus. I don't think it's the house for the people. No, it was a house of evil and wickedness. And the wickedness and the evil at the time was the Sanhedrin, Antipas. They were also very loyal to the Roman Caesar.
See, my understanding is a ship crashed and caused that earthquake. The other thing that I want to bring up is when he was in the tomb and the light that came and took him up to a ship, we both agree on that, to heal him. But where my question comes in is it possible that a pseudo-clone was the being that walked back out of that tomb and left with Mary Magdalene? Because there's some that say that he looks like the rabbi, but he doesn't act like the rabbi. Something's wrong, something's off.
Well, you can also look and see in the biblical record he told Mary, "Do not touch me, for my process is not complete yet." He was manifesting back into his true form. Now, if people really want to know what his true form looked like, and this is before the crucifixion, go to Matthew, read about the transfiguration. That took place on Mount Hermon, which today is known as the Cursed Mountain. It's where the Watchers came. And he only took 3 people with him. And these people witnessed his transfiguration into a light being. They also saw Moses. They also saw Elijah. How did they know what Moses looked like? How did they know what Elijah looked like? Well, here is something that most biblical scholars do not know, do not want to proclaim as fact. Again, you remember yesterday I said, learn the words, see what the words mean, and you'll be miles ahead of anybody, no matter what they proclaim. The very word Eli means messenger or sacred servant. The word Jah is another word for Jabba or Jehovah. Elijah. You know, when Jesus went on Mount Hermon to show his apostles, and one of the apostles was, well, two of the apostles was his brothers, James, Thomas, and Peter. Peter was the only one that was not a blood relative, but he was a strict follower of Jesus' teachings. He's like most people. We want to see your true form. Can you do it? Can you materialize? They stood back because of the power that was being expanded out. How did they know what Moses looked like? And who was this Elijah? We go again. Elijah was Jabba. It was not a separate being. It was not somebody that, well, you know, let's use some type of Aramaic word, Elijah. Man, that'll get them when we write the Bible. Well, Elijah was another name for God. And if you've studied the Bible, Elijah was taken by God in a whirlwind. No different than Enoch. God came and took Enoch. The angels were very prominent and very present in them days. Very present. No different than they are right now. We have a little bit modern times than they did then. But Jesus showed them his true form. Mary knew who he was. And yes, Mary was with child at that time, I do believe. I don't know. I wasn't in the bedroom. I couldn't attest to that. But I know that when her and the Holy Family arrived in southern France in 35 AD, she was carrying child. And it's very well noted who came there in Saint Rameses of Gaul.
Do you know?
But the crucifixion took place in 34 AD.
Do you know what the keys to the Sarabet are?
The Sarabet?
The Sarabet.
Well, you call it a different name. I call it the seven kings of the kingdom.
No, it's four keys. So,
I call it
so it's
seven
something
keys.
totally different.
Could be.
Based on what I'm being told, there's 4 keys to the Sarabet. And based on what I'm being told, I'm the 4th key. It also told me I need to have hypnosis regression done. Because perhaps I was actually there at the tomb and at the crucifixion. So that's coming up. I'm looking into that along with a couple of other people. But I just wanted to find out if you knew anything about La Sarabet.
Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the things in my research. This is by Dr. C. Truman Davis. I don't know if you can find it today, but Truman Davis had done some medical annihilations and discoveries concerning the crucifixion. It is amazing. This was never allowed to be published in any medical journals. In fact, from what I think Mr. Davis has passed away today, but this is something he said back in the early 70s. And he talked about it at many lectures that he gave. And yeah, he was kind of, you liar, you fraud, you disinformation, you're trying to ruin religion, you're trying to ruin the people's beliefs. No, this man was an honest, licensed medical doctor, and he lived in the UK. Imagine that. I would like to read something that he found. It's right here. It says, the half-fainting Jesus being taken down from the cross and slumped to the stone pavement and eventually carried by his family members. Roman soldiers surely made a great joke out of this as they rolled dice for his garments. Well, the Bible talks a little bit about that. And they made statements that him claiming to be the king of the Jews. Anyway, it goes down. It says his shoulders in the place of the stick in his hand for the scepter, and commonly known that Jesus was sliced. He's got sliced into his side. Upon reading many things concerning the crucifixion, I could never find anything that showed that it could have been a form of critical points of his decease. In other words, what he's saying is Jesus dying. Understanding that many things that they talk about, the blood surely had clotted in places, but to understand the crucifixion process is a very cruel and vile method of ending somebody's life. And it would take, in many cases, several days, where the person would asphyxiate himself by his own body weight. Jesus was taken down around twilight on the day that he hung on the cross. It is very openly stated that he did not perish on that cross on that day because of the Sabbath beliefs carried out and enforced by the Sanhedrins. Yeah, you want to read something very, very damning about biblical testimonies, you ought to see if you can find Dr. C. Truman Davis and see if you can find, it's called A Physician Testifies About the Crucifixion. It's very, very eye-opening. Is it true? Absolutely it's true. Is there more proof? Absolutely, there's more proof. Can y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Joseph of Arimathea. I would like to go right down here. And this is an old thing from the Joseph's Rolls in the Gospels. But I'd like to read the Qumran community, which is known as the Essenes, who kept documents and teachings, which we know today as the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is what Joseph of Arimathea said. For my son, he doesn't say which one, but he says, for my son, he has forgave the wicked ones, for they tried to place him in a grave, and they made accusational signs toward him. And they would have been delighted in his death, although they did not succeed, for they not knew who my son was. That is written by Joseph Arimathea. Historical developments that came from the Church of the Scepter. This again is run by the Catholic Church. Dating to the late 12th century many texts were found to be written by Joseph of Arimathea connected to the governorship of Rome. Well, who was the governor of Rome at the time in Judea? Pontius Pilate. And he sends the following to the followers that knew him who lived in Britain. There's a reason it was called Great Britain or the United Kingdom. To elaborate upon that, the Arthurian works are Arthurian. Could he be talking about King Arthur? Very likely.
Mm-hmm.
That the timelines denote that the Holy Family was safe now in the arms of the followers of the Holy Cross. The followers of the Holy Cross were the Knights Templars. We have the documentation from the monk Zaire. When the Holy Family arrived in southern France in 35 AD, he noted that there was 50 knights that guarded them. Now, we'll go right down here in the same testimony. This is from the Gospel of Nicodemus. This is very hard to find, people. I will tell you straight up. You might find some BS out there talking about Nicodemus, but the Gospel of Nicodemus and the truth of it can only be found in one place and one place only, and it's not told openly. It's in the Nag Hammadi diaries. But this is what Nicodemus said. Likewise, my brother Joseph and I retrieved the body of the son. Okay, we know this who the son they're talking about. And why was the Sanhedrin so angry against us as we begged to Pilate, the governor, for his body? And behold, we took him down and placed him in a new tomb, and a garden would expunge the beauty of what our son was, wrapping him in clean linen, and the women took care of his wounds. We know who the women were. One of them was his wife. And it goes down, the Jewish elders asked Joseph, we're talking to Joseph of Arimathea again, and said, we should imprison you for your vile discretion and place a seal on that door along with that child. Well, Jesus was not a child, but why would the Sanhedrin call him a child? And Joseph warned the elders, and I quote, this is what it says. It says, for he is the Son of God, he is my son, and who you hanged upon the cross, but reminding you that he has been delivered from death's doors. And at the hands of your wickedness, you shall not see the day that comes soon. And may your judgment be upon you soon. The elders returned to their temple, and a massive earthquake soon followed. Now that's the only thing it has about Nicodemus. Here is testament. Here is documentation. And I'm sure if you can't find this, I can tell you where you probably can find it. But you probably won't get to read it. I bet that the Catholic Church has this in their vaults, their archives. They have so many other things.
Yeah.
I've had this D for so long. I mean, like I said, I've been studying this all my life. I've dedicated this. Here's, it's talking about the Holy Grail, which is the bloodline. And to elaborate a little bit, you said that you believe a craft crashed there. I've never heard of a craft crashing, but I do see the testaments that something of a bright light came out of the heavens and shined on the tomb. And then the two light beings that is documented were present.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say a craft crashed. I very likely doubt that. But, hey, I wasn't there. I didn't get an invite. I think I was on a fishing trip.
Perhaps when I have my full memory, we'll have our answers.
You know, I remember where I was at on that day that the crucifixion took place. I was going to the market to get me some pineapple juice. Yeah, I did say that, people. Eh,
So,
um, yeah, this book I've got everything in here that, and I mean, I just didn't pick something because it pertained to the crucifixion or it pertained to Jesus. I got stuff that not only gives a very elaborate and clear picture of what took place on during them times, but it has been researched and studied by the best of the best, not by me. Curious minds always seek knowledge. I wanted to know the truth, and again, it's like the internet. Uh, there's a lot of bullcrap out there, but there's just small little tidbits of the facts and the truths. And if you ask, you will find it also.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of pretty well covered that part. So, where did the family travel after that?
Well, that is a good question. I'm going to set this book over. I mean, that's 25 years of hardcore documentation there. And I'm going to get to your answer because that's where I'm leading to. Here's another one. 25 years of my own writings and research. I've put it in. I could write multiple books on this. Why should I? Who would believe it anyway? I'm going to set that right over there. Many things were taking place after Jesus reappeared to the apostles. The Bible states something very true. He met them in Galilee. They were hiding out. The Sanhedrin was looking for them, for one. They were wanted men. And when Jesus appeared to them, he walked through the wall. Well, people, I believe that because I've seen it before. Can I walk through walls? Can D walk through walls? The mind is a powerful tool. You figure it out. You're smart people that are listening.
There's ET races that'll pull you through the
But
walls too.
as the apostles had fled Jerusalem, Judea, well, they didn't flee Judea. They just fled Jerusalem because there was some bad doo-doo getting ready to go down there. And they all met in Galilee as Jesus had instructed. And during that time, the Holy Family was being shuttled to a safe place so they could get out of there. They knew, yeah, bad stuff's coming. So, with that said, after Jesus told the apostles and they witnessed his ascension, well, there's some stories about the ascension. They saw him go up in the heavens to be with the Father. There's some that said a bright light appeared in the heavens and Jesus drifted up to it to be with the Father. There is another one that said that a peal of lightning flashed across a cloudless day, and Jesus ascended to be with the Father. But we have the testaments of the monk Zaire, who was a monk that lived in a little small village of about 30 to 40 people, poor people, in Saint Ramez. Matter of fact, it's called Saint Marais de la Mar. 35 AD, this was written. And I'll tell you about this diary. It was found at a church that was built there after the Holy Family arrived, dedicated to the Holy Mother, Mary Magdalene. It was found underneath the altar there, as there were some renovations being conducted back in, I don't remember, 1920, 1930, a very sacred site to the people who lived there. It's also centered around in a community that is nothing but the Bath people, O negative blood. And when they found this, the people there became very rich overnight. And I'll tell you what my assumption is. I can't prove this, but I'm going to say it anyway. They became very rich overnight because, well, the Catholic Church probably got wind that a very damning diary has been found. We must get it, or we are going to lose everything. And suddenly, the people became very rich overnight. They had land. They had very nice homes now. They wasn't squandering as farmers. They became holy people. And I believe the Catholic Church gave a little bit of their money to them just for that diary. It's known as the Memoirs of Zaire. And he was a holy monk. He was a Zoroastrian monk. And in that diary, as I've been told from a Catholic bishop that worked with us and taught us things back in from 86 to 1988. He told us about the diary. He said it's one of the very biggest secrets that the Catholic Church fears that the public should never know, because in that diary, it mentions of the Holy Family arrival. It mentions every one of them that arrived there. Mary Magdalene was with child, and Jesus was with her, along with Jesus' earth mother, Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus' father, and let's see, James was there, Judas was there, Simeon was there, Matthias was there, Bartholomew was there, Andrew, Thomas, and an estimate of 50 Templars were there protecting him. They came across the
Wasn't there a
Mediterranean
second
from
Mary?
Egypt. Yeah, well, Jesus' birth mother was named Mary, but
Okay.
that's a titlement.
Okay.
But she was looked upon as a holy mother. She gave birth to Jesus. It wasn't a virgin birth. She was actually the mother of James, Jesus'
What about the
oldest brother.
dark-skinned female that came over with them? Because there's talk of that too, and there's even there's a lot of talk of that.
Well, she was not of African descent. I will say that. I mean, I don't have the.
She was more Native American in color, or or India type skin tone.
I'm being aggravated right now. You're not aggravating me. Calm down. My little dog is wanting to jump up my lap. But anyway, yes, I don't know who the woman's name is. I wrote down when I did all my research and everything, and if people can see this, there is a lot of the names that I wrote down that I was told. And you got to remember, this is stuff I got when I was with the agency.
Yeah.
And
when you say with the agency, you're talking about the CIA, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Project Aquarius. I wrote it down as it was told to us. And like I said, this stuff goes back. I don't have an actual date on this, but I would assume this was probably around 1986, 87. Yeah, I've got a thing here from the Jewish teachings from the University of Jerusalem. It was essays that was written by James, the brother of Jesus. James, the oldest brother. But within the memoirs of Zaire, do you remember yesterday I spoke some Sumerian to you people, and I said I will translate that for you tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember me saying that?
Oh, yeah.
I said, Karamik al Akashar al Tamala Kashira. That is Sumerian. The translation of that is the great keepers of the Hall of Records. We know exactly where the Hall of Records is at. It is highly protected. It is highly guarded. And anybody that breaks through that wall and tries to retrieve the Hall of Records, because there's some very sacred things sitting underground. There's a little tool down there that protects all of that until the time arrives for its retrieval. And now, with that said, I will give you a hint. In the ancient days, a great altar and a temple to the Creator, actually to the creators, was built on the borders of Egypt and Judea. That's in the Bible. It is actually the only place in the Bible you will find anything mentioned about the pyramids. With that said, the Great Sphinx is just one of several. But the Great Sphinx was an honor and a statue and an altar to the Creator from thy seed the human species came from. Opera Anu Jabba, Thor. And if you look at the Sphinx, yes, it looks like a lion. He was known as the Lion of Judea. And Judea is another word for Israel. And didn't I say that Israel means the people? Yes, I did. Learn the language and learn the specific words, the key words. Listen to your heart. Listen to what your mind's saying. Look this up. There it is. There's another clue. It is a puzzle. I don't expect people to speak this language fluently, but the great keepers of Anu records, the Great Hall. This was all mentioned within the memoirs of Zaire. And this monk was in fear of the Catholic Church at the time, or the Roman Empire. The Catholic Church hadn't proclaimed itself as the Catholic Church, but the Roman Empire in general. This little village was very well hidden. Not many people knew about it. And the family prospered. I told you that Mary Magdalene and Jesus had 4 children, and they would be the start of the kinship and the protection of the royal bloodline, the Anunnaki, Starfire bloodline. Notice I said Anunnaki because the Anunnaki, the Pleiadians, the Andromeans, and multiple races were involved in the creation of the human species. M. M is a very sacred letter, and the mark of Cain, the mark of holiness, the mark of the chosen people. And if you've got an M on your hand and you was born with it, guess what? You're already marked. You're chosen. You are from the chosen ones. This is where the Merovingian kingship originated, from the 4 children of Jesus. And after about 5 years, the word had spread across the Europe, and people had already heard about this great being, this great man from beyond the stars. And we have to go see him. We have to go to hear his teachings. And that was Jesus. Well, there was more than just Jesus there. There was other beings. Within 5 years, as the diary says, the area around Saint Marais de la Mar, where the Holy Family was living.
And that's Gaul, right? Which is France?
30, yeah. It went from about 30 to 40 people estimate in the village to over 5,000 people. They came from everywhere. And the Roman Empire had got wind that there possibly could be an uprising in this area. And there is some documentation the Romans went there to destroy it. They went there to kill the people. That's all they knew how to do, kill them. And they met a very grisly end, the Romans did. They came to do the bidding of the Caesar. We also found out that Rome, which had set up forts or combat stations in the United Kingdom, just because some of these people migrated to the UK. The people that were the chosen ones, the selected, or the birthright from the royal bloodline. And these people rose up against the Roman Empire in Great Britain and defeated them. And they, why and who were they protecting? Well, they knew that Rosslyn Chapel, which was built by Joseph Armithia and many of the Templar sects. It's very well documented. It's very well noted. And I do not know, I cannot say yay or nay, but I have been informed that at Rosslyn Chapel, that Joseph Armithia's remains lie there alongside of Pontius Pilate. Boy, that would be a History Channel special, wouldn't it? But you go to Rosslyn Chapel and talk to some of the historians that are experts on it, and it's a subject matter that they will neither deny nor they will confirm. It's almost like it's taboo, and maybe the reason why they don't want people to come there and we've got to dig up his remains. Well, no, you're not going to dig up his remains. If Pontius Pilate is buried there also, leave his remains also. Just understand that, well, maybe Pontius Pilate could not do nothing to save Jesus. So I'll whip him and we'll hang him up on a cross and just to appease the Sanhedrin. And fortunately, there was a Jewish uprising, very well documented by Josephus, the historical writer of the time, wrote about the destruction of the temple in 70 AD because the Sanhedrin were being overthrown by the people. It's a very long story. It's a very factual story in most cases. But again, like every good story and every good testament, there's always going to be that 1 or 2% that's going to discredit with something else or some other bullcrap to keep the truth hidden. I will tell you factually that whatever Dan Brown uncovered and was allowed to write the Da Vinci Code, I think these teachings went through the course of history because Leonardo da Vinci knew a lot of things. And there's a lot of bad things that was said about him over the years. But I don't think them bad things can be proven. But he brought more good, and he had an insight of the future unlike anybody else other than, well, let's just say Michael D. Nostradamus. I used to call Michael or Nostradamus a man who saw tomorrow. Just like John, who walked with Jesus, he was another man that saw tomorrow and was given insight. I mean, the Bible has 5 beautiful books written by John, and most of it's very accurate, especially the book of Revelations. Again, he was visited by the angel of the Lord, and you must see these things, for they are to come to pass in the very distant future. Most people think that the book of Revelations, to start with, is written by John. It's actually, John was taking notes to pass it on. If you'll read the very first verse in the book of Revelation, this is the testament of our Lord Jesus Christ. Very first line. Was Jesus the angel of the Lord that came and visited John when he was in exile on Patmos, which is a fact? No, Jesus didn't visit John. John already knew who Jesus was, just like the other apostles. Remember, John was there during the transformation, if I'm not mistaken. See, there was James, John, and Peter. Correct. Okay. I just want to make sure I've got my people together because we mention a lot of people here, and it's easy to get somebody crisscrossed with another. There is a lot of holy sites around the world that stand today that are in honor of the great people, the Anunnaki, the Pleiadians, the many people that were involved with this, and the key elements of the people that were guided by the various angels. Uh, the Catholic Church has tainted a story that has never been told so bad. Makes Mickey Mouse look like Lucifer. I'm sorry. I lost another ounce of my credibility. I'm going to ride that horse, D. I tell people, do your research. Listen to what your heart is saying. If you read something and it doesn't sound right, probably isn't. But if you hear something and read something that, well, that don't sound right, or that maybe not be what I was taught, but God, it makes sense. Guess what? Maybe your spirit is saying, open your ears, listen, listen, listen. It's being revealed. Well, this is just a little bit off course, but it's all connected. Last Friday before last, I was visited by a minister for the second time. He would like me to come to his church next month and speak. I guess I'm not doing too bad, am I? And I haven't told him yay or nay, but I let it out of the bag this morning with some very, very loving people that are my extended family. They know who they are. That I am going to go speak. But there's going to be one stipulation, or actually two stipulations that must be met. And I need to go over there and speak. I've never been to this church. The one stipulation is I'm coming over there free of charge. I don't want a love offering taken. I don't want no money for it, because what I'm bringing, you asked for me to bring. Now your curiosity is up. And if you can meet that stipulation, then I will agree to it. The second and the most important stipulation, this is the most important one of all. He said they're going to have a supper on the grounds before I speak. And I said, well, that'll be great. That'll be great. I can talk with people and sit there and have some good home country cooking. But my stipulation is the most important one. If there is not no banana pudding on any of them tables, you can forget it. I stick to my guns. So I haven't called him back yet, but I will, most likely Monday or Tuesday. It depends on what I'm doing, but I will call him before the middle of next week. And I do talk at a lot of churches when I'm invited. This is a Baptist church, and if anybody's in Westmoreland, Tennessee, I don't know what time next month. It's going to be sometime in February. He'll let me know if I agree to it. And if you're in Westmoreland, Tennessee, come by. Sit down. I'll even share my banana pudding with you.
So, Merovingian. The Merovingians.
You call Merovingian, right?
Merovingian.
We call it the Merovingians.
Merovingian.
But it's okay. It all means the same thing. It all
Right.
means the same thing. So, what about the Merovingian kinships? They were the ruling party of Europe a long time ago.
And they are the bloodline, right?
Absolutely. Their descendants still live today. They're known as the Bath people. It's funny that, yeah,
Yep.
it's funny that over 80% of the Bath people that live today still practice the old customs. And this is not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. This is a fact. It's been documented. But every one of the Bath people of southern France that live around Saint Maurice de la Mar, where the Holy Family arrived and set up shop, every one of them are O negative. They also find the same people that call themselves the Bath people in a community in northern Armenia. Again, every one of them are O negative. They practice the old customs, and they will tell you, we are the descendants of the Holy Mother. We are the descendants of Abraham. Or we came through the lineage of David. Or we are part of the Levite tribe. Or we are of the community of the Essenes, who wrote and preserved the records within the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is not a coincidence. These people are protected. They are the purest of the purest. If you're an O negative, you're blessed. If you have the mark, you're blessed. You're already chosen. Who am I to say you're not? But they live by the old customs. They live by the old teachings. They believe in it. They pass it down from generation to generation. So when that child is born and is waddling and is able to write his name, able to tie his shoes, or who knows, he may be wearing flip-flops, whatever. But once that child is starting to absorb knowledge, these teachings are passed on to the kids. And some of the smartest kids in the world reside in these communities I just mentioned. And they will tell you, where did you come from? Well, we're the descendants of the Holy Mother, the Holy Mother of Mare. Remember, Mare means the queen. And especially the ones over in Armenia, they'll say, we are the proud descendants of Abraham. And Abraham was the son of God, or the son of man. You see, these old customs ain't too old if you look at them. It's just that nobody wishes to talk about them anymore. They are the descendants of the Starfire blood.
Then you have the anomalies, like me.
Well,
We talked about that because I'm an O, but I'm an O positive. And, you know, like I said, somebody asked the question, God hides their prophets. And I said, yeah, they do. Because they were expecting me to be an O negative, and I'm not. I'm like a needle in the haystack.
Well, I'm going to probably bust your bubble, sister, because we had this discussion before. I would retest my blood.
Yeah, I'm going to arrange for that. Yeah.
Because, you know,
along with the regression and stuff, regression. Because Gabriel wants me to go get regression. Yeah.
I've got many books concerning bloodline.
Yeah.
Boy, I want to show you.
Do you
something.
have your bloodline? Do you have yours mapped out? Your genealogy? Do you have it mapped out?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
It's only about, it's close to 7 foot long.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's longer than that, but yeah. If you laid it out end to end, yeah, it's crazy. And that's just one part, because there's many facets to me, lots of secrets.
Yeah, there's one secret right there that I've rarely revealed to anybody. You see that?
What about it? I see Deuteronomy,
we'll
Luke.
discuss this. Yeah, we'll discuss this one day if you want to.
Okay.
There's a little letter that comes along with this. See the date on that?
Yeah.
Make sure it's all here. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll discuss it at a later date. I want people to kind of, what the hell has he got there? There's a grave secret in here.
We both have secrets.
Here's a letter that was sent to me when I was in Texas. See that? I've crossed out the name, who it was from. Since we're talking about this, there's the letter right there. And this really got me going. I mean, I already had it going when I say tracing my genealogy roots. But this came from, oh, Lord, let me see right here. Who sent this? Oh, I think anybody that's read Project Aquarius, the book, will recognize that name right there. Monsieur Michael Coloni, the bishop that spent almost 2 years with us in Project Aquarius. I had his phone number. I'll show you the last of this letter right here. It says, "Peace to you, my brother, Michael Edward D. Wolfe, your servant, Monsieur Michael Coloni." Can you see that? My lineage went through Scotland.
Mine too.
All the way to Germany. And my lineage came from the Payne and the Wolf family. That's why I go sometimes, I have a nickname, the Wolf. Now, we will discuss this at a later date because I want people to kind of wonder what I've got in that letter. Not only in that letter, but what else that was sent to me.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Here's a little testament right here that people, especially people in Scotland, Ireland, the UK, how many over there know that Rosslyn Chapel is the great chapel of the Celtic people? I've already told you who the Celtic people were. And I know somebody would say, well, better watch out. Them Celtic people might just smack you with their shillelagh.
Now, something interesting about the Merovingians, they're, the men all had long hair, and there was a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it was their source of power.
Mom made me cut my hair.
It was their source of power.
Sure they were.
The females were extremely powerful.
Back in the days.
Yeah. And many of the females were saints.
My lineage also goes through the House of Stuart, which was the founders and the keepers of the Grail lore, the Grail knowledge. And because if the truth had got out about the Saint Grail, as it was known, the Holy Grail, of course, at that time, the Catholic Church now is being proclaimed as the official church of the world, the universal church of the world, and we are ruled by the Vicar of Christ, which we know today is the Pope, and all else is hearsay or lies. Do not trust them. Fall under our ruleship, our leadership. Don't trust these ones that proclaim to be the descendants of God himself. You know, I'm going to say this again. I've said it openly. I say it very proudly. I am the Son of God. I know who my Father is. I'm not the big bad boogeyman as the Catholic Church has proclaimed me to be. But with that said, everybody that's watching this program today, look in the mirror. Whether you're a man or woman, child or whatever, look in the mirror and see what's looking back. Guess what? You may call me a liar, a fraud, a soothsayer, or whatever. How can you say that openly? That is blasphemy. No, I am the Son of God. And when you look in that mirror and see what looking back, guess what? You are also the son and the daughters of God. Know where your Creator came from. Know where your lineage, your roots is. And be proud of it. For if you denounce me, I shall denounce you before the Father. I haven't done that. I don't plan on doing that unless it's warranted. There's many things that are hidden, that are not truthful. And again, I come back to my old original saying, everybody wants to know the truth. Everybody wants to hear it until somebody speaks it. And then when somebody speaks it, then we have our 2% that comes out, our soothsayers, our own personal Judases. It's funny. He was riding this pony with me until somebody says, I can't believe you believe that. You're nuts. Oh, wait a minute. My biblical teachings don't say that. Well, I can't help what your biblical teachings say, but the truth has always been before you. Remember what Ross said in his 3 questions? Pray and believe, and all good things will come to you. They will come to pass. I've dedicated my life to this. I've lived it. I've walked many paths, just like my brothers and sisters have. And we know where to look for because we have walked these paths. We've never passed judgment on anybody. But now these days are here. The final plagues have been released. The final bowls of judgment have been released. The final 7th trumpet has been sounded. And the 7th seal has finally been opened. And I will remind you again, that train has already left the station. I surely hope you didn't miss it.
I was just going to show you this. And this is just one page of many. But let's see if I can get it up here into focus. Maybe right here. We'll start there. Is that focused?
Yeah.
I can't tell. Can you read it?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, you showed this to me before.
Yeah. Well, this is a particular section of it.
Move it back just a little bit because it's blurred, or might move it forward a little bit. I'm not sure. Just do it until it gets there. I don't know if people can see that or not. You might want to read it to them.
I can actually share screen because I've scanned this. What I'll do is I'll do a stream by myself afterwards because I've actually scanned this entire document. That proves my bloodline. And I'll do that after we get done and share the PDF format of those pages with everybody. I've just barely scratched the surface on what's in there as far as who those people were and what's this.
Can you see that? The secrets of the code?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those who ask and those who search and believeth and trust is a key word there, will find the great mysteries. The secrets of the code. Why did Dan Brown call it the Da Vinci Code? There's many codes out there. You got to remember and embrace this. There is a war, a holy war, a war of survival taking place. And the angels of the Lord are among you. They are walking among you. I don't have wings per se, but I'm able to do miraculous things if I desire. And right now, one of the things that I desire the most is to carry out what my Father sent me here to do. I am the third and the final messenger. You're not going to get no more warnings out of this. What is coming is coming. It cannot be reversed. It will not be reversed. But I will say this, there is hope. And those who have been chosen know about that hope. I've been instructing you. When it's going to happen, I don't know. But like I said this morning, and I've said in the past, it will happen so suddenly, it'll be like a thief in the night when it takes place. And I have something very special of where I'm going to start. It's about 8 hours from here. But when the craft comes get me, I'm going to come get this one special person. She is going to be the first one that is retrieved. She is going to be witnessed by many in her neighborhood. And those soothsayers who said, oh, you're so crazy. I'm worried about you. You're believing that this is a cult. There is no cult involved at all. And those who have intermingled, well, you know the end of that story. And then the ones who we have chosen, as you very well know, Dee, in just a matter of maybe an hour to 2 hours, you will all be gathered up. And I'm not saying everyone, because I'm talking about the first retrievals. You will be gathered up, and I am personally going to take you to the mothership. And I am personally going to embark off the craft that's retrieved you so you can see your residence for several months. Because after all is said and done, it's going to take a little while to clean up this planet that man has purposely defiled. And the sacred land will be brought back to its originality. The sacred people will inherit their promised kingdom. And then there is queens that have been personally selected, as you well know, Dee, that will rule with an iron hand. And when I say an iron hand, what they say goes. These queens have been selectively chosen because of their pureness in their heart, their innocence. They have talked to the Father. They have witnessed. And laughter is always the best medicine. And those who have laughed with me, well, I'm the honored one because I got to laugh with them. And they trusted and they believed it. And they talked to the Father. And they are worthy. So with that said, I think that one individual where it's going to start with knows who she is. She is watching. And it is my honor to say that, sister, you've been loved even before you was born. Our Father knew you before you was ever born. And those who want to say this is nonsense, this is rubbish, well, just stay on that horse that is nonsense and rubbish. And when all this happens, you're going to probably say, damn it, I should have drank some pineapple juice. Look what happened to me. That's good comedy right there. But again, it's like this. Oh, he can't be right. He is blasphemy. Oh, that there is no truth in that. He's wrong. Well, but what if I'm not? What if you don't believe Dee? What if you don't believe me? What if you don't believe none of us? But what if what we're telling you is a fact? Do your research, because the truth and the answer, the great mystery, is being revealed. And to us, it's not a mystery. It's a way of life. We have walked the paths. My sister Dee has walked the path. I've walked the path. Michael and Daniel's walked the path. We have walked many trails, and we've met many, many people over the course of many lifetimes. You know what? I invite everybody, everybody. Why don't you just stop long enough, take a deep breath, and walk with us? You might be surprised what you see. I'll shut up now. I've done said enough on that issue. And my coffee this morning is awesome, as always.
Well, we're almost at 3 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Any questions? If you have questions, you could put them in the chat now. I've been sort of keeping an eye on the chat, trying to keep up with everybody. You know, something that's interesting and something I shared with Sir Edward, I was raised by an O-negative Pleiadian. He was not my biological father, but my little sister is also an O-negative. She's my half-sister.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a question. Sir Eddie,
Okay.
would you kill thousands of people to save millions of people?
Well, repeat that question one more time, please. I'm going to absorb this question.
Would you kill thousands of people to save millions of people?
Well, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I know what it's like to take a human life. I was in Vietnam. Taking a human life is a very difficult and hard procedure. Would I kill thousands of people to save millions? I don't want to kill nobody. I do not want to kill nobody. But if it means to save humanity from himself and get rid of this draconian society that is just expanding itself as we speak, there is a war going on. And in every war, there is collateral damage. To defeat the enemy, you have to become just as vile and as mean, if not worse, than the enemy. I have no quips or qualms or any regrets of what is coming. I do not want to kill nobody. But unfortunately, that is not going to be the scenario. And the scenario is going to be played out in a very violent and turbulent and chaotic finalization. If I did not care, or if I did not so love the world and have the blessings to listen to people's concerns, people's asking, and that's an honest question, and I'm not going to blow you off. I'm giving you an honest and heartfelt answer. I would have just told the council here a few weeks ago that there is no one there on this world that is worthy. Let them perish. Let them all perish. Man, woman, and child. But that is not what I said. As a matter of fact, I was very boastful and fire came off my tongue. I challenged the council. How many have got off your asses? And I did say that to them. Were they shocked? I hope they were. And yes, they were. Have came down here and saw how the people are being treated, what the people have lost, who is lied to them. It's not me that is going to kill thousands. Man is going to kill his own self. And if these days were not shortened, there would be no flesh to retrieve. I think that's in the Bible also, but I could be wrong. No, I'm not wrong. I've studied the Bible. I've lived it. No, I don't want to see nobody die. Least of all, I don't think Dee wants to see anybody die.
No.
But unfortunately, that's not the case. There is going to be casualties, and I can't stop it. I won't stop it. And matter of fact, I'm going to be the promoter of it. So there's your answer.
Oh, I wanted to
I'm
thank
very
you
passionate.
yesterday with the translation. What language was that that I was speaking? You know, you helped me with that
Uh,
translation.
well, it's actually, they will say that's Sumerian. Well, the Sumerian language is almost identical to Pleiadian. And when I say Pleiadian, because I am Pleiadian, but it's the language, the universal language of our people.
Okay.
And it's funny that
Well,
all
that
our people
explains a
can
lot.
communicate.
Yeah, it really helped a
Yes.
lot. I really, from the bottom of my heart, pure gratitude for that. Because I've wondered what that was about, because I felt the intense emotion that was going on there. So now to have some piece to that puzzle is really valuable to me, and I appreciate that. So that's the language I
Yep.
was speaking. Fascinating. I was hoping it was not a completely lost language and I'd never know, but
Well, our language is our language concerned to historians is a very lost and forgotten language. The simple reason is um, nobody understands it, nobody speaks it, and
evidently I do. But
I speak it. I speak it very, very fluently. I can sit for hours with my brothers and my sisters, and we talk a lot of times in our language because if somebody is tapping into our phone or listening in, what are they listening? What are they saying? We talk our language because, well, there's only a handful of people in the world today that can actually read and speak the language that are, well, let's just say, of Earth descent. And I don't think the government's going to go out of the way to find those people that can speak it because then people that can speak it are very fearful of their own lives.
yeah, what we're doing,
I
I
will,
mean, this is a thought that's crossed my mind many times. What we're doing here, incarnate on our missions, um, I don't think people are aware of just how dangerous it really is. They really
yeah,
have no clue.
the times we're living in are very dangerous,
Yeah.
very dangerous. And I will remind people, and this goes with the question that was asked. Um, in the olden days, I like to remind people remember what I did to Egypt is going to be much worse this time. I love people. I truly love people, but there is a war going on. And I am from a warrior class. I am from a sect, a priesthood. And I'm not trying to put a feather in my hat or my brothers and sisters' hats, but we're here for a purpose. And I am going to make sure that purpose is fulfilled to the letter.
We got another question.
Okay.
Um, yes, that's correct, Miss Deborah. They lied to you all for control. It's been about control. That's the bottom line. It's about control. Um, question: do you do soul contract revocation?
Do I soul contract revelations? Is that
No.
what you
Have you
said?
done soul contract revocation?
Not sure where that question is going. What
Well,
do
a
they
lot of
mean by
people during their
soul?
incarnations have made soul contracts and they were unaware of doing that, where they put
Oh,
themselves in enslavement, so to speak.
no, no,
Okay. Next
no.
question.
I came back here. I came back here voluntarily.
Yeah, me too. Um, question: what is the best way to discern the spirits who come to talk with us? How do we tell the imposters from the real ones? That's a very good question.
That's very easy. That is very easy. What is your heart saying? You have that God gene. You have a piece of that gift of the Creator, of the Father. It is part of Him. And if it is sending a red light, if it's saying, do not talk or flee from here, then you're probably talking to somebody of negative circumstances. But if it is starting to, let's say, it's a feeling that'll come over you, a very honest and pure feeling. You're talking most likely to one of our people, an angel of the Lord, a spirit being that has been sent here to guide you. Everybody has a spirit guide. I call them the shadow people. Nothing wicked, nothing demonic, although they are little demons. And remember, look up the words. The very word demon means a messenger of God or a servant of God, one who brings a blessing or one who brings the truth. I love these inner definitions that religion has painted.
Yeah, they love twisting things, don't they? Question. Were the wasp in Berlin last summer a scent plague? Not by my team, so we'll let Sir Edward answer that.
I can't say I did it, but somebody else might have done it. You got to remember there's 33 of us down here, and we're down here for a purpose. And out of the 33, there is 7 Imadurakis. 7. And the Imadurakis are from the Melchizedek order of priesthood warriors. And be thankful that we're here fighting on your behalf. I can't say who did it. I can say what happened on December 20th. There was an incident on December 20th where things were being seen down in the southeast. And I can say who's responsible of the events that took place on December 27th, 2018. I know who did that. This person couldn't help himself. After all, he was coming back home. So I'm coming back home. I've already made a decision about the 7th seal. You know who it is. And the decision had already been made. And I let a handful of people know the 7th seal is going to be open tonight. No ands, if, buts about it. It was supposed to be open before the 21st of this month. I opened it at midnight. And the rest is history. But what happened in Kenner, Louisiana on the 27th was just a small precursor of what is coming. It was to show exactly what we're capable of doing. Was anybody hurt? No. Was the town leveled? Yeah, it wasn't leveled, but there was a lot of damage. In fact, they're still fixing it as we speak. I wonder how many of the soothsayers now are scratching their heads saying, what the hell? It wasn't a power surge.
No.
It wasn't an act of terrorism. What happened here? Well, it was filmed, and I knew about it, and now you know about it. There's more coming. More coming.
Let's see. Question. So I don't have to squint. Doesn't answered prayers give us karmic debt?
Yes. Yes. It goes back again. We all have beautiful gifts, and we all have unique abilities, but very few of us use them. and very few, even more, understand them. Yes.
Okay. Next question. How long after some are gone will the others be taken?
Well, I will let people know I'm going to be the last one to vacate this planet. And when I vacate, if you're left, I can only pray for you. There will be a time, a very small window of time, that those who will be asking shall be found. Again, remember that gift, that little gift? Ask and you shall receive. There will be many who doubted, will be blessing and asking, please, I am worthy to be saved. Well, you didn't believe in the first place, and now all this stuff is happening around you. You might have lost some family members now, and you're wanting to save your own hide. It'll be a touch and go situation, and there will be some that will be retrieved before it's completely annihilated. But there is some that will stick to the guns. I don't believe none of this hogwash, this rubbish. And those, well, they will never incarnate ever again.
Yeah, that's my impression from what I'm learning as well is they're being written out of the Akashic record, out of the Book of Life. In other words, never
Absolutely.
to return or incarnate. That's my
Absolutely.
impression.
Absolutely. And you are correct. Absolutely correct.
So, next question. Will Mother Earth heal from all the destruction man has caused?
What was that again?
Will Mother Earth heal from all the destruction man has caused?
Absolutely. There's a reason it's called Mother Earth. People don't realize that this planet is a living entity within itself. Yes, nuclear facilities will be buried. The waters will be healed.
Yeah, the
Land
nuclear
masses are going
plants,
to change.
that's going to be done. Yeah, I
Land masses are
agree.
going to change very drastically. Now, I will say this, and I told this to one of my beloved sisters this morning and to David, and I told it to several others. And I have some very loving friends in Australia. Australia is not going to be completely changed. There's going to be a lot of things of violence and chaotic circumstances taking place around Australia, but Australia is going to be preserved to its originality. And people don't realize Australia in the beginning was one of the places, sacred places, where the genetics of the creation story was being done. You got to remember, a war came out of the heavens. That war is getting ready to be finalized. The people in Australia, you're going to be cleansed. And right now, there is so many crafts over Australia right now to protect it. Um, our Australian friends, God bless you. Look in the sky and see what might be looking back. They're there. Do you want to go outside and see them? And remember what I've said. Lightning seen in the east shall be seen in the west, and the great down under shall witness all. They shall be the final witness to all of this.
Okay.
Imagine that.
What about Paradise, California? Why were they singled out?
Yeah, I've lost a little bit more of my credibility. I'm finding humor in that. Why was Paradise, California singled out? It wasn't just singled out. I've said the entire West Coast is getting ready to befall upon itself, um, all the way to the Rocky Mountains. It wasn't singled out, but we have to start somewhere. No, it wasn't HARP. No, it wasn't energy weapons. No, it wasn't weather weapons. It was man's weapons. We just helped the process, I don't know, materialize. And yeah, we have to start somewhere.
Okay, next question.
Remember, I said Armageddon's going to be in this country. Well, that is the first start, the first shot. Okay.
Will we see the Vatican taken down? It's already going down. Haven't you noticed?
No, you will not see. Well, unless you're still here. And communications are going to be a thing of the past during these times. No, I just said I will be the last one to leave here. I have a job that I'm going to finalize, and it's going to be quick, it's going to be swift, and it's going to be sudden. And when the thunder arrives in Vatican City, preservation of the documents and the records and many items that belong to the people will be retrieved. But I've stated before that when I go to the Vatican, notice I said I go to the Vatican, I'm not coming there for a social call. And it's within the Bible, talks about it. The destruction of the church or the city that sits on the 7 hills shall fall with fiery destruction, and judgment has befallen upon them. They deserve everything that I am going to bring.
Yeah, it looks like Miss Deborah already. Miss Deborah answered a question for Miss Tammy already. We don't need to cover that one because it's correct. Okay. All right. Well, we'll do this again, sir. I had so much fun today, and I had so much fun with all our streams. They've been really fun, and now I think we've actually got the audio worked out. Yay! But I do hope everybody has an absolutely fabulous finish to their weekend, and remember, stay, the thing is to return to your innocence, and I call that the return of innocence. Be like a child. That's what it means. Finding your true self.
I will expand a little bit further on one of the questions. Will Mother Earth, or will Earth retain her original form? Yes. If you want to read about what it will be like, whether you read the Bible or not, but it gives a very, very clear picture in the book of Revelations. Read about the New Jerusalem. Remember, we're not talking about a city, we're talking about a world. Jeru in Hebrew and Aramaic means place or city or land. Jeru. And salam is Aramaic and Hebrew for peace. Jerusalem. It means the new place or the new world of peace. Read that. Just read that. I will also say this again. We are the Alpha, we are the Omega. We were the first and we shall be the last. For we are the descendants of the lineage of David. We are the sons and daughters of the morning star. Do not change the words that are written in this book. For those who change the words, judgment will come upon you. But those who embrace these words with written into this testament shall inherit the new kingdom of Jerusalem. My father sent a message here pretty similar to that. Well, that message came from me. I do not want to see anybody perish, but there is some Judgment has already been passed on you. You know who you are. And when I come knocking on your door, there probably won't be a door. Earth is going to be restored to its originality. The sacred garden shall grow again. The flowers shall bloom. The children shall laugh and play without fear. Mothers will be mothers. Fathers will be fathers. You'll be able to know that when you lay your head down at night and sleep, that you'll get to see a beautiful tomorrow. Them are my words also. And with that, may blessings and love always find those who are searching. I can't say it any better. If you think California was smoking, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is 2019. I've got about 2 years to play. I've got 2 years to do many debauchery things, because 2021 is not going to be a very good year for anybody. Pray, 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 ask that you're not here when 2021 arrives.
Anyway, thank you, Sir Edward, so much for being here. And
you're welcome, sister.
If anybody needs to contact me, my email is criticalbreak@outlook.com. And Carrie Ellison. And I haven't got my hearts.
Yeah. Well, I can't do it like you can.
I actually do the infinity sign and not the hearts. But because you are infinite beings. Very true. Anyway.
Very true.
I will come back in a couple of hours and do the genealogy for you all on PDF. And so I hope you find that interesting. Some of you will be interested in what that is. Anyway, I do hope you have a grand weekend, sir. And we'll do another one soon, and we'll pick some topics to do. Sound good? If you're up for it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
This is a suggestion if you would like to do it.
What's that?
I know you and me have covered many bases.
Oh boy, yeah.
Many subject matter. Maybe the viewers have some suggestions. Maybe the viewers are interested in some topic or something, preparation or whatever. I mean, it's just an idea, something you can throw about. But if the viewers have a subject matter that they would like, well, let's just say us to expunge on, and send it in to D. I haven't opened my mailbox, by the way. I will open my mailbox to take emails when the time arrives. Do not expect me to get on Facebook anytime soon. Our fine friends at Facebook, you're going to be the next fireside. So anyway, with that said.
Yeah, if you have a particular topic that you would like to see discussed, put it in the comment section underneath the live stream once this is all done, and I'll keep a tally and let Sir Edward know about it. Okay. So anyway,
sounds good.
Take care, everyone.
All right.
Sound good?
I was getting ready to say, love you. We'll see you in the very near future.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Storm is coming.
Yeah, true. Bye for now. See you, Sir Eddie.
All right. Bye-bye. Love you. Be good. Be safe and sound. Talk to you very soon.